It's absolutely wonderful to be here today.
Well, thank you for your time. We're really happy because I think you're also happy about this weekend.
I love coming to Mexico. It's one of my favorite things to do in the world. Never mind to come and play gigs. Just to be in Mexico is a major treat, especially after the last couple of years where it was a little bit more difficult to travel. But yeah, I'm very, very happy. And the concert that we played the other night was, the audience were beautiful, so generous. I really loved it.
And we love to have Franz Ferdinand here. I think Mexico, it's maybe one of the most, the countries that most stream your music. And well,
yeah,
welcome again.
It's good. Every time we come here, I just feel welcome. I feel like it's a place where I ought to be. So yeah, of course I'm happy to be here.
Welcome every time. I think you have your chilaquiles and tacos and everything of the Mexican food.
It's funny, I always make a trip to the market while I'm here as well, just to get things that I can't get back in Scotland. So yesterday afternoon I went to the Mercado Medellin, just to stock up on chiles, because back in Scotland, it's very, very hard to get good chipotle chiles and that sort of thing. So I have a huge bag that I'm going to take back in my case.
That's great. And I think chipotle is kind of sweet. It's not that spicy.
Exactly, yeah. It's amazing for me because I love food and I used to be a chef. So I find that Mexican cuisine has such a wide range and depth to it. And I think people in the UK don't really appreciate it until they come here, how complex Mexican food actually is.
Yes, I was reading talking about food and British food, how they conquer a lot of a lot of countries and places to get the spices, but the British food is not that spicy. It's not that.
It's true. Like back in the horrendous days of the British Empire, they did.
Yes.
Conquer countries, as you say, and steal their cuisines to a degree, and steal their spices. And then in the 19th century, they all took all the flavour out of all the food. It's changed in the last few years. I think Britain has some great food now. It's not a bad place to eat nowadays. Still can't get great Mexican in the UK though. If there's anybody here listening and wanting a business opportunity, I would say go to London and open a really good Mexican restaurant, because we're dying for that sort of thing.
Let's do it, and maybe I'm going to be the one that goes there.
Oh right, you come over. You'd be welcome. You can broadcast your show from over in London. Right?
Yes, that will be really great. But well, Alex, let's talk about music.
Yes, let's.
And I want to start with something I was thinking about. I think it's something really remarkable when a band has not only the discography, but also the fan base to come with a greatest hits album, such as Hits to the Head. How do you feel about it?
I mean, for me, it's a great thing to do. I guess it's because I grew up with lots of greatest hits albums. When I was a kid, it was the digital age, pre-CDs actually. But my parents didn't have a lot of money to spend on records, so they'd always buy greatest hits albums. And for me, they were the introduction into so many great artists. They didn't have every David Bowie album, but they had Changes and that sort of thing. And so I guess for me in my head, it was always like, wow, imagine getting to the point where you can collect all those bangers together and put them on one record. So yeah, it's great to come over and to play those songs as well.
Yes, and it was 20 years after. I think it's also a lot of time, but maybe for talking about maybe artists like David Bowie, maybe those greatest hits come when they have 30, 40, 50 years, right?
Yes,
but I think Franz Ferdinand has this, let's call it privilege of having it in the mark of the 20 years of the band.
I think of it in terms of Queen, like you have Volume 1, Greatest Hits, Volume 2, and then Volume 3. That's what we're working towards. Hopefully Volume 4 as well.
Yeah, but I think you have the set list for doing it.
I mean, the thing is, like, when you do this, and when I think of albums like those Queen greatest hits albums, like they chart eras in a band's life, and like once you've done that, so like that was a period that's now over, and it's now to start on a new period, and that's very exciting for a band. It's like, right, what's next? That's really something to look forward to.
And I think that's something that also as fans we can enjoy, like a band that doesn't stand only in the greatest hits. We love the hits, right?
Yeah, of course.
They are hits.
I mean, that's the secret, isn't it? It's to appreciate the hits and to look forward to the future as well.
Yes, and what's coming in the future?
So we have been writing and we've been doing a little bit of recording, but there's certainly not an album finished yet, but we've been working towards it. I mean, that's the thing, like, between records, you're always still working whenever you get the chance, so hopefully before too long we'll be getting something out.
But also, I think after these pandemic times, what most of the artists are thrilled to do again are live shows, right?
Yes.
Touring the world.
We missed it so much. But do you know the thing that kept me sane during the lockdown was my memories of what was the second last show we ever played before the lockdown, which was playing at Corona Capital. And again, that was such an incredible audience, such a fantastic atmosphere, and so loud. Like, the audience is so loud. And so, in the darkest moments of being so isolated in Scotland, I was thinking, that's going to happen again one day. And here I am back in Mexico, and it did happen again. So
yes, and we will talk about Palacio los Deportes just after this quick translation for our audience.
Of course. Yeah.
How is your Spanish? You can practice a little bit, maybe get some words he's saying that.
Dos cervezas, por favor.
Ustedes están escuchando El Vórtice, yo soy Alan Zuko y seguimos con Alex Kapranos. Alex, let's talk about Palacio de los Deportes.
Oh, that was such a fun show. Oh, man, that crowd, it was so generous and so loud. And yeah, it's, you do these shows across a lifetime as a band, and there are certain ones that you're never going to forget. It's going to stay with you forever, and that was definitely one of those shows. Also to play with the Vaccines as well. The Vaccines are a great band, and it felt like a very cool bill, and I think they went down very well with the audience as well. So yeah, it just felt like an event. That's what a gig should feel like. It should feel like an event, and that's really what it felt like the other night.
You have the Dr. Simi experience also.
Yeah.
Were you aware of that?
So somebody mentioned beforehand that there's been this funny thing like at concerts recently where the Dr. Simi, that's what you call it. Yeah, they get thrown on stage. Like, that's bizarre. So and then sure enough, one goes flying through the air. So I said, gracias por mi Dr. Simi.
Yes, I saw that, and it was lovely. It was a meme that come really far, I guess.
Right.
It started on Corona Capital last
did
year.
It? Right,
yes,
okay.
With Aurora. Are you familiar with her music? Well, she's
a little bit, yeah.
She's a young artist from Norway, I think.
Right, okay.
But she was the first one to get the Dr. Simi experience.
Oh, right, okay. I see.
But it also makes me think, what do you think about remembering those maybe smaller gigs on pubs in the beginning? And what do you think was the key to achieve bigger stages for Franz Ferdinand throughout the years?
Well, I do remember the first ever show we played here in Mexico. I can't remember the name of the theater. It was a theater show, and I remember we played every single song that we knew how to play at that time, and it was such a treat. And yeah, I just knew there was something clicked that night. I was like, oh right, there's some kind of connection between what we do as a band and the people of Mexico. I just knew from that night on, we're going to come back here a lot. Yeah, I knew there was... It's like, when you meet somebody for the first time and you first become friends, and you can think, oh yeah, we got on well together, we're going to hang out a lot in the future. I really like that. And that's what it felt like coming to Mexico. But yeah, I don't know, like for the progression of the gigs, I don't really think about it. It's just a natural thing.
Do you still feel the nervous before the shows? Do you still feel that like anxiety maybe?
I wouldn't say it's anxiety. Like I used to be terrified before going on stage. Now I do get nervous energy, but it's a different type. And the way I would describe it is, if anybody can picture what it's like, when you're a kid and you go to the swimming pool and you go to the high diving board and the first time you do it, you're absolutely terrified. And then the second time you do it, you're less terrified, but you still get the incredible buzz from it. And so it's like that. It gets to a point where the nervous energy is merely about the thrill, and you learn how to enjoy the thrill rather than suffer from the fear. Yes. And yes, of course, the adrenaline is pumping through my body, but it's in a very positive way.
Yes, and I think that if that thrill goes away, maybe it's time to take a rest,
right? Oh God,
right?
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're I mean, I can't imagine ever being in this situation, but if you're in a situation where you're dreading walking on stage, you just shouldn't walk on stage.
You should go home, maybe watch a couple movies.
Yes, watch some good movies.
Yeah, Alex, let's listen really quickly one of Franz Ferdinand's songs, and we'll continue the chat after that. You picked Dark of the Matinee to play for us.
Yes.
Can you tell us a quick...
Well, this song has very good memories for me because this song was written before the band really existed. It was back in 2000, and Bob, the bass player, Bob Hardy, and we were very good friends. He was studying at the art school at the time, and I was working in a college in Glasgow, and we used to send each other emails during the day with ideas of things that we would write a song about. And that's how Dark of the Matinee started, with us just like saying, like, for this imaginary band that we didn't have, we were talking about songs that we would write, and that's how the lyric came about for that song. So it's very good memories for me whenever I listen to it.
This is one of the really first songs of Franz Ferdinand. Well, mientras tanto, pues, Alex, last but not least, I want to, thank you again for being here and ask you another question that I was thinking about. I think that Franz Ferdinand has gathered a unique sound, a very particular and identifiable sound through the years. Do you remember in the beginning of the band, what were the sounds or the style that you were pursuing, and when was the moment when you said, like, we have it, this is Franz Ferdinand sound?
I guess, like, you know, when you're finding a sound for your band, you're doing two things. You're putting elements of what you love, actually three things: elements of what you love, avoiding the things that you don't want to do, and also trying to invent something new. And so we were pulling from all sorts. I remember at the time, so you had, when we were starting off as a band, you'd had two kind of movements which were big in the UK. There was the electro-clash movement, and then there was the garage rock revival kind of thing that happened in the early 2000s. And we were kind of like, right, we don't want to do either of them. We want to do something that's distinct from that. But we wanted to play raw. You know, we wanted to play raw, like in my head, like raw, like the Beatles were in the Cavern Club. You know, when it was just the four of them playing like really, really with that incredible energy. But at the same time, we were going to clubs a lot and listening to a lot of dance music. So we were, if you listen to the structure of Franz Ferdinand songs, it's all like the structure of dance music, like with breakdowns and like breaking down to the kick drum, adding in the hi-hat, the sort of thing that you find in house music, but played by a raw rock and roll band, really. You know, that's the kind of key. And also like inventing things that we hadn't heard before, like even down to the production, putting the emphasis on the hi-hat and that sort of thing, and playing disco beats but at a higher tempo and that kind of thing, like a beat that would normally be around 110 BPM, playing at 150 BPM, and you know, you just do things that sort of mix it up to make it unusual and different. The other thing that I remember trying to do as well was playing the guitar like a synthesizer. You know, when you program a synthesizer with an arpeggiator or something like that, you tend to have this kind of sound, like this kind of and it's very regimented. And so a lot of my guitar playing kind of came from that at the beginning. Like, so if you think of like the riff in Michael, the it's me trying to be like a synthesizer, or even the beginning of Take Me Out, ding 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 ding. It's me trying to play like a synthesizer, but playing a guitar instead.
That's really, really cool to know or to hear it from you, because it makes us understand this structure. And as you said, it's a guitar synthesizer.
Right, yeah. It's all those sort of things. I think the exciting things that happen in music is when you try to do something and get it wrong and make something new instead. You know, that's, for me, that's always the fun moment.
And that's the key thing to find new things.
Yes, exactly. Because I think you make a mistake when you wear your influences too openly on your sleeve. Like if you love Nirvana, making a band that sounds exactly like Nirvana is pointless. You know, you want to take Nirvana and mix it together with I don't know, like a little bit of Dr. Dre or something like that.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
And one last question, Alex. in a musical era where maybe hip hop or electronic music or reggaeton and other genres seem to have taken out rock off topping charts and being like the mainstream, where do you stand as a band, as a rock band?
I mean, the way I feel about genres is like all genres have something good about them and something terrible about them, and then a lot that's just in the middle, you know? And I think that's true for rock, reggaeton, death metal. You know, it's the same for every genre. And fashions come in and out. When we started as a band, it felt that the kind of music we were playing wasn't very fashionable. And then it kind of did become fashionable,
yes,
you know? And the way I feel about it is just be true, be honest, make something good, and then you just don't need to worry.
Yes, I agree with you. And thank you so much for your time. I think you're staying here at Mexico a couple of more days.
Yes, I am. Yes, I'm going to enjoy myself.
Yes, please do it. And, well, feel free to come back to Ibero whenever you want.
Thank you very much. You've made me very welcome. Thank you.
Yes, and the band Franz Ferdinand has almost the same age as Ibero, and you have been one of the bands that have been played since the beginning. We have
that's so cool.
Yes,
right,
19 years. So
right, okay, yes.
Yeah,
we're kind of contemporaries.
Yes, and we had that dance rock boom also, and it was like the foundation of the station, and we've been making more diverse sounds for the audience.
Have at least another 19 years of jolly, happy times ahead of you.
Thank you. The same for Franz Ferdinand and all of you. Thank you so much again.